Alright, so quick rant. I don't normally do rants, but it's gotten to the point where my day-to-day work is really starting to get interrupted. Any Adobe users out there know the frustrations with Adobe products in general. The past few years, I wanted to make this video to see what other people think because I, as a video professional and marketing professional, rely on Adobe products to get my job done. There's numerous bugs and glitches with Adobe products, and it's frustrating when you have a very expensive product that is subscription-based, that is only going up in cost. You rely heavily on their services to be reliable, right? To deliver the quality, but lately that's just not the case. So a few issues I wanted to kind of mention. I've been using Adobe since 2007. I initially started my video career using Sony Vegas in 2003, and it was amazing. It was fluid. The timeline moved like butter. The playhead would scroll infinitely and you could jump around with no delay. And this was on an eMachines PC. This was my first computer. And I remember the jarring difference when I went to Premiere because everything was manual. You had to deliberately move the playhead where you wanted it to go, and you had to manually input time codes, whereas Vegas was a lot more fluid and dynamic, and I always missed that. I've gotten used to Premiere obviously over the years, even After Effects and Photoshop, but I will tell you what is absolutely ridiculous. We have such dramatic changes in technology just in the past few years, but I've seen it for the past decade. And I've always waited for Adobe to really step their shit up. And I'm not being pessimistic. It is a great product. Adobe does make amazing things. But now I'm starting to see third-party apps, even on phones like iOS and Android, come up with editing solutions that are butter smooth, do real-time keying, do real-time motion graphics, even incorporate motion blur, which is a resource-intensive thing. So what got me into content creation was seeing the possibilities of things I can make, like particularly After Effects, right? I got into computers realistically to make After Effects run faster. I always thought if I keep adding new GPUs or a better CPU or more RAM, After Effects would work in real time, but that's never the case. And I think in 2023, it should be. It should be the case. I see better apps out there and better programs even for Mac and PC. One of those companies is Blackmagic, and if you know me, I'm a huge advocate for Blackmagic products. Just yesterday, I updated the Pocket Camera, which I've had for 2 or 3 years now, and Blackmagic released an update for vertical video, and a lot of people complained about it, but I think it's awesome, because if you work with video every day, you know vertical video is becoming a thing, and I didn't like it at first, but I love it now. I like shooting in vertical, I like shooting in horizontal, depends on your application. But it's nice knowing now when I rotate the camera, the overlay rotates with it. And then I even uploaded the file to see if the file format changes, and lo and behold, when you rotate the camera vertical now, it'll actually format the file in 9:16 format. This is amazing, it's a huge game changer. And Blackmagic is the type of company that really listens to customer feedback and they'll tweak the products accordingly. Just like Apple, they make hardware and software mesh, right? Proprietary does suck sometimes, but it has huge advantages. So Blackmagic has Davinci Resolve. And what got me into this rant was a few weeks ago, my friend Ashley has been starting to step up her content creation a bit, and she's advocating that Davinci is beautifully optimized, even on her shit laptop. And I always knew that was the case. I've opened Davinci several times back in 2014, 2015, and I gave it a shot, but I was not accustomed to the node-based editing at the time, and I didn't have the time or interest to relearn everything from scratch. But it's proving to be an all-in-one, from start to finish, delivery platform. You have editing, visual effects, which is Fusion, you have color grading, export. You can export directly to platforms. I don't even know if it's in that order anymore, but Blackmagic has listened to its customers and it's really optimized the software to be efficient with the hardware you have. Adobe, on the other hand, Adobe is written on very old code. Photoshop goes all the way back to the 90s, and it's apparent now. It's still very much the same. And in my opinion, it's obvious their patches are just to fix holes in their software. There's a lot of bugs, a lot of issues that I'm starting to take note of day to day, like runaway playhead when I'm editing a multicam sequence, or rotoscoping utilizing too much memory. Rotoscoping is really slow as shit. And since the pandemic with Teams and Zoom and OBS, I've really noticed background replacement, real-time background replacement has really stepped up in quality. used to be shitty and pixelated, and fine tuning was really limited, but now it's very good. And rotoscoping in After Effects is a goddamn joke. I'm working on a lot of projects right now, and rotoscoping is a big part of it. And the more I'll roto a scene, the more memory takes up, to the point where it just locks the software. I have to save, close, and relaunch. And it's ridiculous, especially for how much the Adobe Suite costs. Luckily, I don't pay for it because the company I work for pays for it. Should I have to pay for it on my own, I'd be really tempted to reconsider maybe using another platform. So just a heads up, short video, short rant. If you're looking to make awesome content, but you're just starting out, I highly recommend starting with Davinci Resolve. And I'm only putting this out there because I kind of wish I gave it the time 10 years ago, because now I might have propped myself up to be working a little bit more efficiently. It's not the case. I know how to use a lot of features in Premiere and After Effects, but the problem is I'm limited because the programs are slow, or the programs crash, or they don't do what they're supposed to. Or when they do, it's broken by the next release. And unfortunately, we don't know how that's gonna be. Another example is AI, right? AI is all over the news right now. You have ChatGPT, you have DALL-E 2. AI is obviously gonna make a huge influence on how we create content, or how it assists us, right? Adobe kind of rushed and released these neural filters for Photoshop, and if you've ever used them, it's a joke. They're pretty much useless. Adobe Sensei, who knows how sophisticated the algorithm is, I'm not sure, but results are pretty much useless, whereas other programs that may be using AI are a step ahead. That's not to say Adobe is not planning to perfect this technology. I'm sure they're working on it very hard, but it's just very difficult and it's frustrating. That's the end of my rant. Yeah. I have at this point a whole notepad of bugs and glitches that I've encountered or am constantly encountering in the Adobe Suite. So maybe in a future video I'll get more granular, but those are just some of the few instances that I'm constantly getting frustrated with. So just some food for thought. Anyway, if you want to learn more about video and content creation and a little bit of marketing, check out my website, alexciliato.com, and thank you for watching.